E-Trade Baby here. I'm going to be giving you guys some information about cells and various organelles. It's going to be a fun time. I'll be your captain this evening, and over here will be my co-pilot, the clown. So sit back and relax and enjoy the show. Starting off, the nucleus is at the center of a cell, and it contains the cell's genetic material, and it controls the cell's activities. The clown over here, he's sort of like the nucleus of the circus. He tells the elephants and all the other people what to do, He's just a demanding kind of guy, because he's a clown. Next, we got the mitochondria. It's an organelle, and it converts the chemical energy stored in food into compounds that are more convenient for the cell to use. It's sort of like Barack Obama in American politics. He gets everyone all fired up about politics. Isn't that right, Mr. Clown? Our next stop on our tour of the cell is the ribosome. It's a small particle in the cell on which proteins are assembled. It's sort of like a sweatshop in Chinatown, except instead of knockoff Nike tennis shoes, it makes proteins. It makes protein shoes, like what Mr. Clown over here wears. Next, we got the cell membrane. It's a thin, flexible barrier around the cell. It regulates what enters and leaves the cell. It's sort of like a guardian, a ninja guardian, that only lets certain things enter the cell, like the clown over here. Our next organelle is the Golgi apparatus. It's a stack of membranes in the cell that modifies, sorts, and packages protein from the endoplasmic reticulum. It's sort of like the United States Postal Service, except instead of sending stuff to America, it sends stuff in the cell. Mr. Clown over here used to be a pretty sweet postman back in the day. Next, we got the chloroplast. It's only found in plant cells, and it captures the energy from sunlight and converts it to chemical energy. Sort of like those fancy solar cells some of those young people have these days. It takes them to the farmer's market and to Starbucks and such. Right, Mr. Clown? Próximo es un centriolo, una de dos estructuras diminutas localizada en el citoplasma de las células animales cerca de la membrana nuclear. For you gringos, that's a centriole, and it's one of two tiny structures located in the cytoplasm of the animal cell near the nuclear envelope. Next up, we got lysosome. It's a cell organelle filled with enzymes needed to break down certain materials in the cell. Just like when I break down the Red Rover line when I play Red Rover. I'm like pretty much a beast at Red Rover. I'm the best. And Mr. Clown over here can account for it. Can't you, Mr. Clown? Am I right? Next, we got the endoplasmic reticulum. It's the internal membrane system in the cells in which lipid components of the cell membrane are assembled and some proteins are modified. There's two types of ER, the smooth and the rough ER. But we're only going to talk about just in general because we don't have that much time. So, isn't that right, Mr. Clown? Go. Next organelle we got is the vacuole, which stores materials such as water, salt, proteins, and carbohydrates. It's sort of like the dump of the cell, where we store all the trash and discount furniture. To the dump, to the dump, to the dump, dump, dump. Mr. Clown over here shops there all the time. Next up, we got the cell wall. It's a strong supporting layer around the cell membrane. In plants, algae, and some bacteria. It's pretty much just like a wall around the cell. and it keeps out bad things like criminals and clowns, like Mr. Clown over here. Finally, we got microtubules, and they determine shell shape, provide tracks for cell organelles and vesicles to move on. Microfilaments are responsible for muscle contractions, and they also carry out cytokinesis. Well, that's the last organelle, guys, and that concludes our tour of the cell. It's been fun. I know I've enjoyed it. So has Mr. Clown. So, I'll see you next time. We'll do it live!